So, went on a few dates with this girl, woman, lady, thing, person. I don't know what I'm supposed to call y'all anymore. So, we went on a few dates. There was definitely some good stuff going on, but just something wasn't clicking, and we clearly both agreed, because it was kind of a mutual ghosting, if you will. But then, like, a couple of weeks later, she pops up out of the ether, starts texting me like, "Hey, what the f*** ever happened to you?" I'm like, "Huh? What do you mean? Like, you ghosted me. You know, I thought we were having a good time." I was like, number one, that goes both ways. Like, we're grown-ups. I don't think the word ghosting has to come into play here. We just, something clearly wasn't clicking, wasn't vibing, and I think we both just decided to move on with our lives. What did you have in mind? Well, you know, I agree, but I just feel like, you know, we could have gone out a couple more times, or you know, you could have at least reached out. I'm like, I could have reached out, and or we could have gone out more times to discuss how we don't want to go out any more times. I'm like, what do you think went wrong? She's like, well, I don't know, you know, you would shut down and disappear for a little while. I'm like, yeah, because you kept acting weird. She was like, well, you know, I was just testing you in different ways. I'm like, testing me? What? And she was like, well, yeah, you know, setting up situations where, you know, if you wanted to, he would. I was like, I'm sorry, what? Are you taking TikTok honey, you and I, we're in our 40s. We are, both of us, in our 40s. We don't operate on the same playing field as the kids that we see. Because, look, we've invaded their world and we're having a good time. We don't behave like that. What are you talking about? If you wanted to, you would.
Exactly. She probably went out there thinking, I can find something better. And this is what you get.
If I go on one more date, if I have one more encounter with a man in his early 30s telling me that what he's looking for is a hustler, that he's looking for a queen to build an empire with, to be hustling for the next 5 years, I'm officially tapping out. Because what y'all don't get is us girlies in our early 30s, we've been hustling. We fell victim to the girl boss, and we was girl bossing for the last decade. We went to school, we started our businesses, we bought houses, we've been doing this on our own. We've been on our independent woman and you talking to me about hustling another 5 years? My mans, I'm trying to have some babies. And you want me out here working too and hustling? You got me that.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore and put in any effort?
Oh, bless her heart. So this woman wants to know why men don't pursue women as strongly anymore, citing a specific example of how when her dad met her mom, he continued to ask her out even though she initially laughed in his face, and when she had to work late, he came and picked her up with dinner already made and they went and had a picnic. And I can easily womansplain this. See, back in your mom and dad's day, your mom didn't have thousands of influencers telling her that your dad is if he keeps asking her out after she's already said no. Your mom didn't have thousands of influencers telling her that a picnic isn't a real first date. Your mom didn't have influencers telling her that it's not even safe to get in the car with a guy on a first date and that she needs to demand he send an Uber instead because they didn't have Uber. And your mom also didn't have 5 different dating apps to make her think that she has millions of other options. And on the flip side of that coin, your dad also didn't have access to tons of pages online blasting, humiliating, and making fun of men who are overly persistent. Your dad didn't have access to thousands of horror stories from male content creators talking about getting used and played by women or raked over the coals in family court. Your dad wasn't being influenced by alpha bro manosphere dudes with podcasts telling him not even to talk to women and to hit the gym instead. It's a completely different world now because social media has completely changed the dating landscape. And because of that, yeah, we do live in a world where men do need a massive, glowing, shining neon green flag if they are going to pursue a woman women or they won't feel safe. And I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I'm definitely not saying that the full burden of carrying a relationship should be on just the woman's shoulders, but I am saying that dropping the handkerchief can't be as subtle as it used to be. And I'm also saying that once you reject a guy, expect him to stay away. So yeah, 35 years ago, your dad might have gotten away with continuing to pursue your mom even though she said no. But also 35 years ago, people were buying houses for 80 grand. So times change. Either get better at communicating with guys you like or watch the guys you like slip away. Up to you.
What happened to men pursuing girls? When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort? It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to. Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort? When did it become a thing? Now it's like role reversal where they expect girls to be making the first moves, yearning for a guy and chasing him. That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore or don't care to put in effort. And a relationship won't work unless the guy likes the girl just a tiny little bit more. He has to like her just the tiniest bit more for it to work in the long haul. So it would make sense if a guy really wanted to get to know you, that he would go leaps and bounds to get to know you. And when did that shift?
Because if a man persisted like that in today's dating world, he would at the very least be called a and at the worst, he'd be going to jail. That is the reality that a lot of men face. So that in combination with the fact that women are not really reciprocating effort and they're not treating men very well right now, there is a large group of men that are saying that it's just not worth it. And they would say that women have asked for it. They have asked men to leave them alone. So guess what, ladies? They're leaving you alone.
What happened to men pursuing girls?
I'm getting the feeling that some aren't going to like my answer to this one.
When was the pivotal moment that a man chose to not go after a girl anymore or put in any effort?
It wasn't really a pivotal moment. More a convergence of a bunch of different moments and opinions expressed by a lot of women, specifically on social media, indicating that they not only don't need men, but in point of fact, they don't want them. And men paid attention.
It seems like guys can just put the bare minimum and not even really put in effort anymore. They don't really care to.
But what even is the bare minimum? There are so many different opinions and standards out there that it would be almost impossible for the average guy to keep up with what is expected.
Or they're like, why don't girls just go and make the first move and make the effort?
And what would be so wrong with that?
That is, I feel like, the downfall of why it's so hard to meet someone, because men don't put in effort anymore or don't care to put in effort.
Let's get right down to it. A lot of men aren't putting forth a lot of effort anymore when it comes to dating because they don't receive any appreciation whatsoever. And a lot of them are tired of being used. There are a lot of things that are expected of men in society, but yet they very rarely receive any thanks for anything that they do. I mean, would you put forth extra effort if you never received any thanks either?
Decided to put all three of these clips at the front so all three of these women can set you straight.
I hate when a man feels the need to get on here and be like, you know what, doesn't matter how much some female boxer trains, if she's 5'2", your average man is gonna overpower her. Or basically just in general, that like your average man is probably gonna overpower your average woman. Shut the fudge up. Shut the fudge up. Shut the fudge up. I know, but can you shut the for a single second? Because how the fudge that feels? How do you think it feels that I could train my whole life? 6'2" man comes along, I'm cooked. How the fudge do you think that feels? I want you to imagine if every single time you were posting your gym gains, right? Some mother fudging, genetically blessed Latin man who just naturally has the best lats in the world just commented like, your lats will never fudging like mine because you don't have my genetics. So fudge you. So can you just shut the fudge up? Because I just, sometimes I like to imagine in my head that I could beat a man in a fight. Do you know why? So I could feel just an ounce of power for a second. So I don't want you to tell me that it's not realistic, because I know that. Do you know what you're gonna drive me to? If you're like, nah, can't beat a man in a fight. If you have a gun, he's just gonna grab it from you. I'm gonna walk around with a bomb. Is that what you want? Am I gonna end up on a list from this video? I'm just joking. No bombs here. Not a single bomb.
Nobody prepares you for what it's like to date after 50 when you've been married for a really long time. How can you be prepared for this? I have been single for 14 months. And in all transparency, I have done very little dating, very little. Initially, I tried dating apps. I wanted to see if I could put myself out there again. I was lonely. I was looking for some companionship, and I turned to the apps. Well, that's a whole other video. One thing I hear from so many people my age is the older you get, the more difficult dating becomes because the less willing you are to compromise on things. Do you guys agree?
A lot of women are complaining that men are no longer approaching them anymore. And as a man in that equation, I will have some valuable insight for you. For what I've researched, what I've gathered, from what I've asking other men, to what I see, to what I observe. Here is what men are hearing. Don't approach me in the gym, I'm there to work out. Don't approach me at my job, I'm there to work. Don't approach me in a supermarket, I'm there to shop. Don't approach me in the street, I'm trying to get home. Don't approach me in the club, I'm here with my friend just to have a good time. Don't approach me at single nights, at single events. I'm just here to support my friend. I'm just here to make friends with other single women. Where, how, and when then? You let us know. Men don't want to end up on TikTok or social media involved in a story time. I know there are some men who are over the top, inappropriate, who don't approach you the right way. Late at night, when it's just you two on the street, yeah, don't cross over the road and ask her for her number. But besides those limited and very few scenarios, where and how? Where and how?
Roger, come here. What time are you gonna be ready?
What are you ready for?
What time are you gonna be ready?
For what?
What do you mean for what? Are you serious? Don't mess with me right now. What time, for real? You're telling me you forgot? You forgot? What? You forgot? Are you serious?
What the fuck's my name?
Wow, are you dead? You forgot about our reservations or what? You literally made them.
I don't have anything on my calendar. When did I make them?
You forgot.
I didn't make. Well, no, I didn't forget. But I'm saying like.
Well, so you didn't forget. So what time are you gonna be ready? Then where are we going? If you didn't forget.
It's at 8:30, no? No, 9. Oh yeah, it's at 9.
Where are we going?
Well, it's a surprise.
It's a surprise.
You didn't know. But I just thought because I told you there was a reservation.
Uh-huh.
Come on. I'm almost done getting ready though.
Uh-huh.
I just about to throw up some. Hold on, give me a second.
This is the type of games that women play. Instead of clear, effective communication like I want to hang out, you gaslight him into thinking that he was supposed to plan something. That man looked at his calendar and said, ain't nothing on there. Meaning that he don't forget a lot. Yeah, I went up and down her page. He don't make a habit of forgetting a lot.
Here's the thing. I don't want to date. I want to start texting you. I want to start sending you the weird stuff that I look at on the internet. And then I want to start spending the night at your house. That's it.
I went for a coffee date with someone that I matched on Hinge last year. I didn't really quite vibe with him on the date. It felt like a networking session. But afterwards, we would text back and forth for another month. But he never asked me out for another date. And we were supposed to be meeting up at a concert, but that just never happened. So I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just let it slide. Even though I wanted to give it another shot and get to know him better. Fast forward to earlier this year in January, we reconnected and I was like, oh, when I'm back in town, let's grab coffee or something. And then he's like, yeah, like, let me know when we're back. And then I got back, I hit him up and he ghosted on me for 3 weeks. And I caved in and I double texted him. I was like, are you still down to meet up? And he's like, sure. And I just got back from the meetup. It wasn't a date. During the whatever meetup catch up, I was asking him, how's your dating life? And he was like, I'm actually seeing someone. And I was like, are you guys serious? Like, are you guys exclusive? And then he's like, not really, but I prefer to only see one person at a time. I believe in monogamy. I mean, I totally respect that, but it's just like, what are we doing here, sir? It's not like we're friends or anything. Why are we catching up? Dude, you could have just like texted me that you're seeing someone else and you're not interested in seeing anyone else. It could have saved your time and my time. Why are you wasting my time? Yeah, I don't understand, man, and I give up on dating. There's no hope.
Sounds like you've been friend-zoned.
You want the quiet luxury lifestyle? You have to be smart, okay? Just pretty isn't going to get you anywhere, and I know I'm probably the first person to tell you this, but I am friends with real-world Barbie dolls, okay? They are gorgeous, they have money, they have amazing relationships, men worship the ground that they're walking on, and they have amazing friendships. And the common denominator amongst all of these women is that they are very smart. They have great jobs, they have great lifestyles that they can provide for themselves. If you are just beautiful, your options are so limited, not only in choice, but also in term, okay? If you are only smart, you have more than enough. More than enough. Now, if you are both, oh, you can live your best life. But to actively only pursue beauty is such a mistake. There are women living dream lives that you've never seen on TikTok. And I know that you haven't seen them because I know them and they would never post on here, ever. There's a whole world of people. They might watch TikTok. Most of them are not on TikTok. They exist and they are having their way with life.
I just wonder if at some point in time, y'all just gonna be good humans. Bare minimum, baseline. Just be a great human. Don't worry about smart and pretty. Good human.
The other day, me and my grandma was talking because we have very candid conversations. And I realized she was married at 17, had a baby at 19, and then had her second baby at 20. I said, Grandma, how did you not have any more kids? Because, you know, them grandmas back in the day be having like 13 kids. And also asking for a friend, girl. She said, I got my tubes tied. I said, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And then she said, but I had to get his signature. For what? And who? She said, my husband. I had to get my husband's signature. Y'all, that just blew my mind. Like, I can't even fathom that as a millennial. Get a man's permission for something for my body for what? Like, the fact that that was even law is crazy.
It's ideas like this that make men want to stay single. This is why men don't want to marry you guys. Your mindset is all backwards. Why would you want to go in and do something that affects another person? Y'all want men to be communicative and honest and open and transparent with you guys, but then you want to be hush hush when it comes to you.
Men with money treat girls who have money way better than the average girl. Let me explain. They know because you can afford a certain lifestyle for yourself, because they want to get your attention, they already know what they have to do to get your attention. But when you are a girl who doesn't have any money and you're just average and you don't really see the need in investing in yourself or flipping your money, they give you the bare minimum because they feel like you should appreciate the bare minimum since you can't even do the bare minimum for yourself. You have to understand, money likes money. So if you are a girl who does not get money or don't believe in flipping your money, you're always going to get the bare minimum from guys.
Who is saying this stuff? Modern women are the world's best at making stuff up, at creating narratives that don't even exist.
Women are turning against each other for men who decided they feel like us. I saw somebody comment that on a video and I thought, what better slogan for modern day feminism?
I have a serious question. When did the standard of dating become, can I come to your house? Can I pull up? Are you coming over? Rather than, can I take you out? Be ready by 8. Like, I have been out of a relationship for a very long time, and I'm trying to figure out when the did that shift happen? Because personally, me, growing up, 15, 16, 17, the standard was always take me on a date. Okay? That was always the standard, even of the young men. Like, we went to Chili's. We went to Ruby Tuesdays. We went to Red Lobster. We went bowling. We went to the arcade. When did the standard turn into when you coming over? Like, ladies, on some real me included, because I'm not judging. But I need y'all, we to raise the bar higher, because it is very normal for women to not go on dates and get pulled up on. And that should not be the standard.
Y'all come up with too many caveats to that. If a man says, oh, I can't go, I gotta do this, 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 and this. Oh, I can't go here, I can't be this. Well, let me just tell you when I'm available. So a man is at your every beck and call, and it's not really him taking the lead, it's actually you.
Some men truly get off on just trying to humble you, I swear. Like, one time I dated this guy, and he would always just, like, get a kick out of, like, telling me no. And he would always be like, you're so spoiled. And I would be like, yeah. He would always randomly tell me no, and then he wouldn't give me a reason for why he was saying no. He would just be like, you can't just always have your way. Why can't I? Like, I truly don't understand why I can't. I don't say no to myself. Why are you saying no to me? You want to be in my life. Like, I'm sorry, but being a part of my life is actually having to do things that you don't want to do sometimes. It's just part of the game, right? Like, you have to be in my life. I'm so sorry. Like, you need to do that for this to work. Like, a man that doesn't indulge me, a man that doesn't spoil me, a man that doesn't inconvenience himself sometimes because of me, what are you here for?
And the only reason why I wouldn't be able to go 50-50 with a man is because I know subconsciously I wouldn't be able to give him that top dog, head of the household treatment.
Right, right.
Knowing that if it weren't for my 50%, we wouldn't have any of this. Especially when it comes to big things like rent, utilities, all of that stuff. Like, I'm cool with helping out around the house when it doesn't come to...
You're cool with not having to come out of pocket because you don't respect the man outside of his finances. You can't respect the man outside of his finances because you're a disrespectful person overall. You don't care about nothing else but the money, right? As you can see, she's in her car. She just said in her video that she would rather stay alone and pay all of her bills alone rather than splitting the bills with a man or even her husband, right? This is the problem. I said this on my other page, right? The problem with some of these women that think like this, they want unconditional love from a man. They want it the most genuine way possible. They want a man to love them for who they are, even if they're not giving nothing back. That's what they want. But they can't give unconditional love back because their love is just coming from what the man can do for them. It's straight conditional. So if a man isn't doing what they want them to do, they don't want it. They don't want it, bro. I also said the other day that some women don't. They want a provider. The only reason they want a provider is so they can stack money. That's it. If they can't stack money while you provide, they don't want it. They want to sit there and stack paper and have an escape plan instead of just going half with you because they really don't like you. The women that do think like this, they're always going to be single. Always. And if they do get in a relationship, they're not going to like their partner. So they're going to be putting themselves in like stressful situations and they're going to end up becoming single after a while. Their relationships never are going to work because they don't love their partner equally. It's not mutual. It's not.
This is a message for the youngest. Ladies, go ahead and skip this video. This is a message for the youngest. This is a message to my fellas, just the young men out here. This is not a message to the women. Just skip the video. I don't want to hear y'all stuff in the comments. I don't really care for. So I realized I got some young dudes following me. I thought it was just millennial women following me. For real, for the most part. My analytics say it's like 75%. But anyway, I realized there was some young dudes following me, and I just want to give out some little advice that I wish somebody would have told me when I was young. Number one thing you can do in your dating life right now is to stop listening to women. They do not know what they talk about. I swear on everything, they do not know what they talk about. Stop listening to women about dating. You 21, you 19, whatever you are right now, stop listening to women. Stop listening to women on the internet. Stop listening to women that's your age that's listening to women on the internet. Stop listening to women who praise celebrities. Stop listening to women whose mother never had a real relationship a day in their life and they never, ever learned anything from their own mama or their auntie. Stop listening to them. Stop. Just stop. Stop. The simple fact that women go on this app and tell these dudes don't date until you're financially prepared is insane. These dudes is 19 years old. Y'all are creating a red pill man yourself. Imagine not dating from 19 all the way up to 30 something years old. Then you finally got your money, you got some financial freedom, you got the money to date, and you've never dated before. You're gonna be a weirdo. You're gonna be like Myron Gaines and them. You're gonna think that you can buy women. You're gonna think that they're a piece of property. You're never gonna learn the human aspect of a woman. You're never gonna learn no emotional intelligence. Let me tell you something. Throughout my whole 20s, I was dating. When I was 18, I had a girlfriend all the way up to I was like 21. And I learned so much from that relationship alone, just becoming a man, that you cannot teach these things by just grinding it out. Now, if you wanna grind, it's easier to be on your grind when you got a young lady in your corner. Now, if you going to trade school, go get a girl that's going to cosmetology school or something like that. Y'all on the same grind. Y'all understand each other. Y'all on the same page. You know what I'm saying? You grinding together. If you going to college, go get a girl that's at college with you. You ain't got to marry her in college. Just lock in. Like Betty said on this app, lock in right now. You might marry her when you're like 26 years old. You know what I'm saying? If you out here just working and grinding and trying to like learn your craft, and just get you a woman that's learning her craft, bro. I'm trying to tell you, you're going to save a lot of money from dealing with these women out here that's just telling you, they pulling you this way, pulling you that way. They're going to pull you thin, bro. My first relationship, I realized I had issues. I realized I had a lot of issues. I would have never knew that if I was not in that relationship. That relationship, I was trying to figure my life out, become a man. And I was homeless for a little while. I ain't had nowhere to stay for a little while. I was trying to get my life together. I learned that I be trauma dumping. I learned that, I didn't even know I had any trauma at the time. You're a young man. You just living life. And you start trauma dumping. You start learning emotional intelligence from this young lady. You start... she teaching you things about yourself that you didn't even know about yourself. My second relationship, I had to learn how to open up more. Stop, sitting in the corner, being quiet, not speaking at all. I had to learn how to really listen to my partner's needs, listen to what they want. I had to learn how to have more fun. I wasn't even having no fun. I'm just on the grind. You know what I'm saying? She booking trips. She like, just send me $500. I already booked the trip. I didn't even know that these parts of the world existed without that lady in my life. You know what I'm saying? My third relationship, I learned how to be more affectionate. In my mid-20s, this is 25, 26 years old. I'm learning how to be more affectionate about love languages. Not even like the generic love languages that they be talking about on the internet. I'm talking about like a woman really telling you like, this is all I want is for you to do these simple things. And I'm still not doing it because I'm thinking in my head that I'm doing everything right because I'm paying for these things. I'm paying for this. I'm paying for that. You know what I'm saying? What you mean? I don't like you. I just took you on a $300 date and I'm paying these bills, ain't I? You know what I'm saying? But they don't teach you these things when you're not in a relationship with these women. These are things that you have to learn by going through these relationships with women. Not saying you got to settle down and move in with her and be engaged by the time you're 25, 26 or nothing like that. But if you never dealing with women and you just talking about something, these women saying don't date until you financially stable. Man, ain't nobody financially stable at 21 years old. Stop listening to these women, bruh. Stop. You got to read. You got to learn. You got to learn. You got to read some psychology books, bro. I'm trying to tell you. You got to read some more books about dating, about relationships. And this is not going to hinder your grind. Trust me. They keep on acting like you can't be in a relationship with a woman and grind at the same time. I grind way harder when I got a lady on my side. And I know a lot of men that's the same way. When you got a lady, you know who you line up with. You know, you can budget your dating. You can tell her, hey, let me take you somewhere real nice. I got some extra money from work. I'll work some overtime. Cool. The next week you say, I can't really take you out. Can we just stay in and get a bottle of wine this week? Cool. You can't do that when you out here in these streets. Trust me, bro. It's rough out here. Your brokest time ever. The baddest woman gonna call you and be like, it's time to go out. The woman that you've been waiting for. No, stick with them women. The most boring relationships that you have is the ones that's perfectly aligned. I'm trying to tell you, stop listening to these women on the internet. You're 21 years old. Your life should be boring. I don't care what nobody say. You should be on your grind. Your woman on her grind. And y'all figuring things out together. Y'all learning life together. By the time you're 25, you on trips every week. Because y'all grinded together. Y'all stuck it in. Y'all stuck it in the house. I'm telling you, stop listening to women, bruh. Out of all of the things that I learned from my past relationships, now every time I talk to a woman and we get deeper in, they say, oh, well, what's wrong with you? It got to be something wrong with you. Because why you know this already? Why you already this way? Because I've been in relationships my whole 20s. I was in 3 long-term relationships. I know how to put my pride to the side, put my ego to the side and make my woman happy. I know how to read women's love languages. I know how to have the emotional intelligence to listen to a woman through her trials and tribulations throughout the month and her ups and downs with her hormones and be able to be patient. I didn't know no patience when I was a young man. Y'all be telling these these young men the wrong thing. I'm telling you, y'all creating the red pill young men yourself. You got to stop listening to women, bruh. You got I don't know how to, I think I'm running out of ways to put this.
I feel like he said a lot of good stuff in the clip. One thing that I would say that stuck out to me is when he said his girl planned the trip and she was like, hey, I already planned everything. Just send me $500. That's easy. That's simple. A man could do, hey, here's $500. Hey, let's go do this. Let's go do that. A lot of men see the inherent value in a woman, but when it's always, hey, you need to plan the trip. You need to pay for every single thing. I'm not going to buy you nothing. Don't expect nothing. And I may, depending on how I feel, give you a little something. It's literally nothing in it for the man. And that's why men continue to stay single. Because they analyze and they look. A lot of these men out here want a wife. They want to be married. They want to be in relationships. But when they look at the dating landscape and how these modern women are moving out here, how could you blame a man for not wanting to be involved in that? It becomes a liability. It becomes a bill. I was thinking about one of the relationships that somebody that I know was in. And every single time I thought about it, I said, she's good over here. If she would stop acting like this, she would be great over here. But the problem is she continued to act like that. And so her positives were drastically overshadowed by her cons. And so at that point in time, it just kept on coming up in my mind. Man, this woman is a liability. She's a liability. She's a liability. Ain't no way you can get around that. Why would anybody want to get married to that? And unfortunately, this is where a lot of men are. Man, I would love to have a woman. Man, I would love to pay and take care of a woman and show a woman a good time. She wants to protect her. Man, I can be that. But you guys are just so rude, arrogant, prideful, egotistical. Your attitude is through the roof. Why would I want to pay it? Why would I want to be around that?
I hate when we say things like, oh, all men are bad, all men are evil, men don't know how to be good, whatever. Not because I'm defending men at all, but because I feel that it gives bad men an advantage for us to think that way. One, it infantilizes men and it acts as if they're not humans like we are. They're not thinking, feeling creatures, which they are. If they're bad, it's not because they don't know any better. It's because they're choosing to be. And two, if every woman thinks that every man is bad, but they're attracted to men, they're probably gonna be a lot more likely to put up with bad behavior out of men because they think that this is as good as it's gonna get. It shouldn't feel like the hardest thing in the world to get a good man, and it's not. There are a lot of good men in this world. Don't let the bad ones gaslight you into thinking that like them being bad is just natural. It's just how they're born. Don't let TikTok convince you to stay with the bad man because, you know, it's as good as it's gonna get. That's likely not true. And what a man is socialized to act like should, at least a little bit fall away when it's just the two of you if he loves you. So you can say like, oh, men are socialized to be like hard and whatever in public, they're different than women. In a serious relationship behind closed doors, I don't think that's really that true. If your man is trying to be hard with you in private, you might have an issue. A man in love will want the same things that a woman in love wants from their partner. It's not like two crazy different things happening in a relationship. Like, that's really just not how it works. And if that's how it's working in your relationship, you should maybe reevaluate.
Do you want to see me? Do you want to see me, yes or no? Hello? Do you want to see me?
3 days later.
Well, well, well. Look who the cat drug in. Looking like a hoochie. Look at this.
Stop approaching women you know you cannot afford.
When you say afford, are we talking in the streetwalker?
See the woman's lifestyle. You see how she lives.
I don't think there's a single man on earth that's ever looked at a woman and said, you see that lifestyle she living? We don't think like this. We don't think in the terms of lifestyle. And it's always funny to me, the ones that always make these sorts of videos. I look in the background and I see a certain lifestyle, and the lifestyle usually runs into the word poverty.
You know you can't afford it. Now when she asks you for money to upkeep the lifestyle that she's already living.
Oh, you talking as far as a trick? See, there's a difference between a man and a trick, and I understand women like you don't know the difference.
Go be with your type. She's not your...
If y'all ever wondered why certain groups of people, which I won't say because TikTok guidelines, are the lowest married group in America, it's this mentality. Now, the ones that, you know, understand the value of a man is more based off of who he is than his pockets. They have success. The ones like this, they've been taught by their mom. This is EBT behavior at its finest, and she deserves everything she doesn't get in life. Skedaddle.
Yep. I'm him. I'm the dude. I was the provider. I was the family man. I was the one that took care of the kids, even her kids, okay, when I didn't have any of my own children, okay? I held the house down, took care of her in a health crisis. She had full-blown epilepsy, and I made sure that she didn't seize out and die many times. Saved her life, right? Middle of a health crisis. She didn't have to work for 4 years out of our relationship, out of 11 years. Didn't have to work. Whole time she was pregnant, didn't have to work. Didn't have a care in the world when it came to bills, when it came to taking care of her children, when it came to just little extra things. You know, I couldn't afford luxurious things, but I did have enough money to afford some extras here and there. I tried my best, did everything I could. Only in the end to be discarded like trash. And 8 years in, she has a relationship with a whole man behind my back. But then when I find out about it and I call her out for disrespect, she tells me she did it because I would not abandon my kids. To be discarded because I was a good man. And then you want to act like she's such a good person. No accountability. Acts like it's okay to wish death on you. Acts like it's okay to curse your children and tell you that because you did not abandon your kids, that makes you less of a man. And it makes it that you couldn't keep a family together when that's the reason you left or didn't come back, because you got put out for being disrespectful. But then I thought, you know, it would probably be better to raise my son with his mother than to raise him apart. So I said, you know what? Maybe we can find a way to reconcile this. But then, because I would not abandon my kids, you decide it's not worth it, or you decide you're gonna discard it like trash. But it's okay, because you know what? The whole point of this is to bring awareness to my son and the young kings, and let you guys know it's not worth it. I mean, I heard a saying a long time ago that smart men don't get married. Okay? Just keep it pushing. This is not worth it. Not in today's society, not in today's world. Okay? Not saying that there aren't rare people out there. Rare people who value love, value relationships, and value communication. They actually value family. There are people, they're rare. And if you find them, you hold on to them, you don't let them go. Okay? Because to be done and to be treated the way I was treated for being a good man, being the provider, I had my insecurities when it came to dating women with children anyway. But I got over that because I felt like, you know what? Every woman deserves a chance. And I'm the product of a single mother. Okay? My father was there, but my dad died when I was young. So it's like my mom raised us pretty much by herself. And, you know, I turned out pretty good. But that's funny because, you know, leave it up to, you know, the woman that discarded me after she has my son adds to the problems of the generational curse that young black men have to this day anyway. You know, but I've got to teach my son how to never go through that shit. And honestly, I don't know, man. Like, it's crazy because I have never been disrespected by a woman of another race. It seems like the women in my race, my own people, disrespect me more than anything. And that is the sad reality of it. I'm not saying that it's all of them, but every black woman I've ever been with in my life is disrespectful and that is the truth. And that is the truth. And I have the receipts. Just don't be faithful. Don't provide. Don't give these things.
Perhaps the problem with modern day relationships and marriage is the fact that so many men don't understand that they actually need to offer something in a relationship.
What? Are you serious? Am I like the Twilight Zone or something? Is it men or women telling each other that all they should have to do is exist in a relationship? Is it men or women who refuse to even be asked what they bring to the table? Is it men or women who are expecting their partner to finance their entire lives for nothing in return? Is it men or women who milk the fact that they might, just might, not even 100%, might carry a child for 9 months? That they can't do anything else because of that. Because since you aren't going to carry that hypothetical kid that you guys haven't had yet and may never have for 9 months, that somehow means you have to do everything of note in the relationship. Like, it's actually insane to me. Like, are they being genuinely serious? And here's the thing. I obviously understand that not all women are like that, right? However, if you're on this app and you see the way that they're talking and still want to, like, insinuate that it's men who feel that way without acknowledging them at all, like, what are we on? Okay, like, what is it that women do? And the thing is, I saw a Stitch that video, and this one woman, she was saying, like, oh, you know, men are just so used to, like, thinking that they're the prize that they think, you know, just because they're happy that you should also be happy because you're in their radius. That's literally what the women are saying. Like, what are we on about? Remember that one woman who got really defensive when someone told her to ask her husband if he was happy? Like, this is actually insane. Like, I'm convinced, like, they are from a bizarro world where, like, just somehow the roles are reversed. And look, it's like, I understand that the real world is very much different from the internet, right? Like, a lot of people aren't the way, like, you know, these things being pushed online. But the thing is, if you're going to be making content online, you have to acknowledge these people. Oh yeah, also, the creator's name, Fashionably Divorced. So yeah, I think we might be able to tell what we're dealing with here.
Y'all be careful jumping on the "we've been so oppressed" bandwagon, especially to certain counterparts. You know how we always like to shout from the rooftops that women haven't had to or couldn't open a bank account until the 1970s? But one thing that we kind of graze over in history is, do you know that women also owned slaves? And during divorces, because yes, they could get divorces back then, that was one of the biggest ways that they could alter their power, because slaves were property. And I'm not having this conversation to divide, but I see a lot of people rooting on being single, rooting on, oh, marriage is slavery, and they ain't never been a slave in their life. However, women used to own slaves, and big time. They used to own slaves, and slaves were property back in the day. Like, but yeah, that wealth transfer, women had it. Oh, it's out there. And the whole reason why it's not as well known is because their image, women of that day, when they did own slaves and the things that they used to do to their slaves, were also covered up to protect their image, which I wish we would protect our image these days, but we don't. And again, I'm not having this conversation to divide, but I see a lot of my young sisters championing and standing 10 toes down and opting out of marriage to a gender and a race that did not hurt you, whether you want to believe that or not. But back in the gap, oh yeah, they owned slaves too. They owned us too. It wasn't just the men. That patriarchy that they like to talk about, it wasn't just the men. That's a fact. So y'all be careful jumping on these "we hate men trained, the patriarchy did dot da dot da dot," because they was right along with them. Slave owners, and not just because they were tied or married to a man, but
Why can't men just be nice to their girls when they don't feel well? Everything that she's complaining about is actually probably your fault. Stress, like from an insensitive man, lowers your immune system, gives you headaches, muscle aches and pains, especially in your neck. So being insensitive in that moment is not going to do anything. And in fact, being nice releases oxytocin, which reverses all those things. How interesting. Maybe instinctively, she's telling you that she doesn't feel well because she knows that the simple act of love and affection from her man will make her feel better. And you're denying her of that.
Why do men ruin everything? Like, can't have a peaceful Saturday. He's over here screaming his lyrics like ain't no need to do that. Come on now. Stop.
Everybody wanted to know where the good men are, but let me just explain to you what's stopping these good men from getting with you. This idea that a man should come along and take you as you are. He should accept you for who you are, how you feel, how you think, what you do, and he shouldn't question that. He should embrace it, right? That's what you want. But that man wasn't good enough to be with you, to get with you, until he did all the work. He had to become this amazing provider, which means he needed to put in extra work and effort towards his career, maybe his education. Maybe he had to really put in the work for a grind, whatever he was doing. But until he can provide a lavish lifestyle, you didn't think he was worth much of anything. You want to make sure that you have a man who's making solid, sound decisions. You want him to stay far away from all these girls in these streets where he can get somebody pregnant and have all these children out of wedlock, because you want to be the woman who comes along for this perfect man, right? But you don't want to do any work. Do you know why your grandmothers back in the day were able to get these men when they were young? That's because they spent their entire life being raised and taught how to be a good woman, how to make sound decisions, what men cared about. See, we frown upon that now. You call it misogynistic. But no matter what name you put on these things, It's not going to change that you can't control what a man is going to find attractive and what a man is going to pursue. You just can't. So you have two choices. Get on board and start putting in the work now, or be okay being single. The choice is always yours.
You have to have some sense of responsibility when you're going into a relationship. A lot of girls, they just blame everything on the guy. He's treating me badly. He's doing this, he's doing that. Why won't he change? Why won't you change? Why won't you change your standards? Why don't you change your ways? Why don't you change your rules? And why don't you actually respect yourself? A lot of girls, have this mentality that a guy is just supposed to treat them amazing no matter how you are. And yes, I used to think that too. I used to be in my little fairy imaginary world where you meet a guy and it's supposed to be love at first sight and a happily ever after, but the reality will hit you that that's not how it works. And the thing I don't want to hear is, but I love him. It's because I love him. You don't just leave somebody you love. You don't love him. You just don't respect yourself, and you just don't love yourself. It's not that you love him too much. It's that you don't love yourself enough. And I know everyone says this love word, and a lot of girls don't understand it, because I used to be like, why do you mean love? What do you mean love? Love means to cherish something, to hold it at a certain, to value it. Why would you value disrespect? So that's why I say when girls are like, I love him, you love disrespect? You love disrespecting yourself and taking disrespect. No. It's not that you love him. It's just that you don't love yourself. You don't respect yourself. And I know you want to crash out at me so badly, because trust me, if I saw a video like this 4 or 5 years ago, I would be crashing out too. But listen, it's the reality of the world. You are put on earth, okay? You are put on earth to grow and become a better person, okay? And the only way to grow is to endure pain and to be in the darkness. It's like when you plant the seed, it's like no one is there, and then eventually it grows. You're not just gonna have your way, okay? You're not just gonna meet a guy and it just be great and it'll just be a happily ever after to the rest of your life. No. You need some character development. And a lot of the times, these relationships you're trying to hold on to so desperately with your entire being are part of these lessons. And then you lose the guy, you also lose yourself. That's what I'm trying to say, is y'all lose the guy and you also lose yourself, and you need to stop doing that, because then you go back into a relationship and then you lose. It's not that you're scared of losing the guy, you're scared that you're going to lose yourself. So it's not, you're not in love. Okay, you don't want to lose yourself. So find yourself.
5-year-olds walking around with their daddies, like a family-friendly amusement park. Do y'all have to up every damn event? Help me to understand. What would make you comfortable enough to wear a tennis skirt so short it's 6 inches of rock hanging out the bottom of it? We at Disney World, my God.
This woman really doesn't like seeing these women with their behinds hanging out. And I totally agree.